Have you ever thought to yourself, I need a jalapeno pepper guitar?
Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show.
This has to be my new #1 favorite. It's just so ridiculous, and being an ex-produce manager, having a Gibson Les Paul with a jalapeno pepper with sunglasses and calling it the dude. So if you happen to have missed any of the other company-related episodes, in the late 90s, early 2000s, Gibson must have just sent a guy around to every single company or sent letters out saying, hey, we want to build signature guitars for your business. We've got things like the Donzi Les Paul, Playboy up to wazoo, Zippo lighter guitars, NASCAR car guitars, and even Yahoo.com, the search engine. But now we found one for a food manufacturing company, McCann. Now, in doing a Google search for that particular company, I couldn't find anything, so I'm not sure if the seller meant McCain Foods, but for whatever the company it was, essentially the story behind why they wanted this was to promote their new jalapeno products. So I'm guessing at food shows or advertising booths, they would have this as an attention getter. But look at this finish. If we zoom in here, it's like a nice dark bluish hue, and it even has a sparkle top to it. Now, in the early 2000s, kind of late 90s as well, they did a lot of Les Paul standards with sparkle top finishes. So it's kind of a blending of that, but with a bunch of cool pepper dudes on it. But here's the angled shot that I think reveals a lot about this instrument. It kind of turns purple, so I bet this is actually a lot more stunning in person than it is in these photos. Looking at the backside of the instrument, it's completely black, but you can see the Gibson Custom Shop decal. Judging by this photo, it looks like a Nashville-style bridge to me, and we can't really determine if it has a long neck tenon or not. It's kind of quirky, but I like it in an ironic way. According to the seller, this has been displayed in a restaurant for all 18 years. So perhaps McCann Food Co. is actually just a restaurant of some sort. But this one actually reminds me of another very kind of iconic guitar now that I almost bought. The Pawn Stars US Open themed Gibson Les Paul. I'll never forget the day I saw this episode and went, that was almost me. This particular guitar, it sat on eBay for like years, and I thought it was just the stupidest looking thing ever. I mean, zoom in here. Who doesn't want a Les Paul with a guy looking like this, having a great time, a lady like, I'm ready to hit this ball, and this guy over here going, woo! I love the color of green on this thing, and the fact that the tennis balls say Gibson on top of it. This is one of those guitars I kind of regret not buying, because it was only soon after passing on it that it showed up on the History Channel. Though they had a hard time selling it. Then I think what happened is it got traded to another guitar store, and then it ended up here on Reverb, and then it sold for somewhere around $3,000. Which I think it's worth it for a good laugh.
But this Stratocaster is a master-built Fender Custom Shop 56 Stratocaster done up by Greg Fessler in 2009. So it's about 11 years old, so this is nothing brand new or anything. But wow, take a look at this. Starting off with our top horn, we've got this red bulbous figure. You've got a lot of light purples, there's some light blues, really striking reds that really pop out at you as compared to everything else on this. You've got some black, and you've got some mint green going on here. You could really take a good long hard look at this and say whatever you want it to be, because that's kind of the beauty of abstract art. I see a lot of red teardrop shapes, so perhaps that resembles suffering, and all this other blue and melancholy colors are telling you that you're playing a game of life and you're losing. And that's the face as you realize that you need to turn to music in order to get your life back. Yeah, that's a little bit out there. But take a look at that pickguard. It just kind of blends in, and I love the checkered board effect. Because the cream coloredness right there matches your pickup cover, so that's looking pretty cool. I only wish that they would have done maybe a little bit something more special on this trem bar, like did a different coloration on here. I'm kind of surprised by their choice to leave the output jack still chrome. And judging by these photos, it looks like this has been completely glossed over, so this would have a really nice shiny vibe to it. So that's the story of the face of the body, but now take a look at that fretboard. If the rest of this guitar was done up like this and that they hadn't bothered to do the fretboards, this would not have been cool. But this, it's so visually striking. What's our pattern here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So every fourth one is black? No, it doesn't actually appear to have any sort of real pattern that we can see based on these. I think that's part of the beauty of it. So you'll have the shiny frets, potentially, and then the inlays on here. It's a white with black. It looks like you got another one right there, and then red with a black center. And then there's a blue one with a black center, all while having all these different colors that make up the rest of this guitar, alternating on this fretboard. You certainly don't see one like this every day. And then you switch over to the back. This just reminds me of like a super happy party. So up here you're suffering, you need to turn to music, but once you know how to do the music, you go to the back, you're having this great party because these are like balloon shapes to me. So it's like a clown's guitar. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Some rock and roll clown at some kid's birthday party needs this guitar. And I like the whole checkered board thing. You could also say that's a return to normality because you no longer have these other colors within your board. You know what game you're playing now. But just a nice bulbous back here. It looks like we have a Fender Custom Shop neck plate on this one. And I wish they had more photos of the back of the neck because it looks like this one has a similar vibe as the rest of this. But we can at least see the backside of the headstock. You can see his signature decal right there. It looks like just your standard tuners on this one. But check out the face of the headstock. That one kind of reminds me of the back of the guitar as well. And this really helps show like the different gradients of colors that they went in with this. It's not like a solid green part. They've got like the lighter greens. They've got almost white right there and all the in-betweens. I mean, that's pretty much true for all these different color segments. I mean, you can also check that out on the fretboard itself. There's some blue, purple, some white. I really dig this black area with the red pipings. It looks like we've got the vintage style tuners on here as well. And then from this angle, when you can see all that stuff on the side, the blue side of the neck, I mean, it kind of looks like a mess, but a beautiful mess. I'm just curious if they took the time to paint underneath the pickguard at the same time. I mean, it's got its COA, it's got a bunch of the original case candy, but what's this stuff? The original owner replaced the stock pickups in a collectible guitar. Heaven forbid somebody buys a master-built art piece like this and they actually play it, right? But I guess in 2009, Greg Fessler built these, but it was artist Dave Newman that did the paint job. Let's see, what else has this guy done? Ooh, looks like this is potentially our culprit right here. You can kind of see some of those same colors that you have on this Stratocaster in this painting that he's done. He apparently works with Fender quite a bit. That's a little bit too crazy for my own personal tastes. I like how this one's crazy, but not, too over the top crazy. You can still understand what's going on here without getting your magnifying glass out. I kind of like this Telecaster right here though. It's a little bit less chaotic, but I'll have to say that this one's definitely my favorite of his works that I've seen. So now you either hate it or you love this thing, but how much is it? Well, it's for sale by Thunder Road Guitars in Seattle, Washington, and they're asking $10,099 for it and $75 shipping. I thought I would share this guitar. It kind of spoke to me as well. This thing has been listed a few different times. The first time they had like Elvis in the title. It made me think, with this photo right here, is that the actual guitar Elvis used during that iconic '68 comeback special show? No, it's just the same model, but take a look at this thing. So the story behind this one is it belonged to a prominent South African guitarist that toured the world with this thing. And man, is this a beautiful guitar or what? It's got that old-timey Gibson feel to it, that super custom-looking truss rod cover, the Super 400 inlays. And then you take a look at the back of the neck. You can tell it's been on a stand because it's got the stand rash areas right there. But super flamed 3-piece neck here. 2 parts maple, 1 part walnut. But even the back has some exceptional figuring on this. Just take a look at that vintage Lifton case here. That is tattered and beaten all out. And look how ambered over this is, especially on that headstock. The owner definitely loved this one. You've got the original PAF in the bridge, and it's got all the typical weather checking that you'll find on these spruce tops and a few repaired cracks, they're saying. But what a Super 400 guitar this is. I especially love this special inlay on the back of the headstock. And I believe this is a photo of the original owner that used it all those years. So just kind of a cool little guitar. I don't know a lot about the history of this particular model, but you do have a Florentine cutaway. And it's actually starting to come down to, reasonable prices. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed this. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.